have 30 seconds. According to the American Red Cross, you have 30 seconds to save a life. You can't even pop a bag of popcorn in 30 seconds. Being a lifeguard is a stressful job, but it is also a rewarding one. When high school or college students are looking for a job, being a lifeguard usually is not the first thing to come to mind, or the second, or the third. I hope to share with y'all how being a lifeguard is a stepping stone to whatever you would like to do next in your life. I'm going to teach you all the process of being a lifeguard, what to expect once you become a lifeguard, and the short-term and long-term benefits of being a lifeguard. The first step to becoming a lifeguard is to get certified. That might seem very obvious, but I've helped teach a lifeguard course, and it became quickly apparent that some of the people taking the class didn't even know that they were physically incapable of becoming a lifeguard. So let us start with the 3 things you need to know before even signing up for a lifeguard class. You need to know how much it's going to cost, how much time you need to commit to it, and what physically is required of you to take the course. The cost is approximately $250 for the course, and the time it takes for the course is around 25 hours. It is sectioned to the online portion and the in-class portion. Then there's also prerequisites. You have to be 15 to take the class, and you need to be able to do a 300-meter swim. So think about swimming 6 lengths of an Olympic-sized pool, or swimming 3 lengths of a football field. You also need to be able to tread water for 2 minutes. Treading water is when you're able to keep your head above water without using your hands. You also need to retrieve a 10-pound brick in around 12.5 feet of water in 1 minute and 40 seconds. Okay, you now know what is expected of you before taking the course. Now it is time to talk about the actual class. It is broken up into 2 parts. You have the online class and then the in-person part of the course, which I mentioned before. For the online class portion, it goes over everything you need to know as a lifeguard. It goes over saves, first aid, CPR, and how to properly scan a pool for patrons. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, patron surveillance is key to preventing aquatic injury. The online portion is broken up into sections, and as you complete each section, you can move on to the next one. And once you've finished all of those sections, you are able to take the online tests. Once you pass that, then you move on to the in-class portion. In the in-class portion, you complete all the prerequisites that I mentioned before, and you are physically doing the majority of the things you learned during the online portion. You'll go over every single save until you get it right. This can be very strenuous, but it is worth it at the end. After you've done all the saves, you then take the final, and once you pass it, you are now a certified lifeguard. And since you're a certified lifeguard, it is now time to start saving lives. The thing about being a lifeguard is each day can look completely different than the last one. You can have slow days where there might just be 10 people in the pool and there might only be 1 lifeguard guarding, and then you could have a very busy day when you have recreational swim, which is when the pool is open to the public, so you could have hundreds of people and then you need a lot more guards. One of the most difficult things to do as a lifeguard is dealing with patrons. Patrons don't always understand why certain safety rules have been set in place, and they can get upset. For example, the Tupelo Aquatic Center where I work has an adult-to-child ratio, and when families don't meet that ratio, the parent gets upset and asks what the point of a lifeguard is. The lifeguard is having to watch several people in their particular zone at a time, so they're not able to put all of their attention onto one person. So that's why the adult needs to be there so that they are the first line of defense if something happens. Of course, it is still very important to have a lifeguard there as well. Another thing as a lifeguard, you need to be able to continually train. Lifeguards have to do in-service, which is something that you have to do at least 4 hours a month. And at the Tupelo Aquatic Center, we focus a lot on spinal injuries. That's when you have an injury and you suspect a spinal injury has happened. We go over that a lot because it is one of the more in-depth saves, and you need more than one person to accomplish it. There are also some really fun parts about being a lifeguard. Of course, it differs from workplace to workplace, but I can give you a little insight on what it is like at a public pool. The Aquatic Center is able to host swim meets because we have an Olympic-sized pool. We also have parties, private parties, and movie nights. Movie nights are my favorite. Lifeguards at the Aquatic Center also get to test out all the toys. When we have parties, sometimes they book inflatables and we have to set them out, and sometimes we give them 1 or 2 test runs. As I've just shared, being a lifeguard can have its bad times and its good times. Now I'd like to share with you why being a lifeguard is a smart choice for the student. There are 3 things that make lifeguarding an ideal choice as a student. Job availability. Where there's water, most likely a lifeguard is needed. Flexible hours. Since lifeguards work in shifts, it is easier for you to be able to tell your boss when you can work or when you can't, which is very important for students. You also have the ability to climb up the work ladder. When I first became a lifeguard 4 years ago, I went in as entry-level lifeguard, and within a year I became a head lifeguard. And as it sounds, it comes with a raise and more responsibility. I also became a swim instructor. The American Red Cross gives so many classes that, like manager of a pool or a coach. So if you want to make working at a aquatic facility a career, the American Red Cross makes it very easy to do. You also acquire a few skills that employees are looking for outside of just lifeguarding. You learn how to deal with difficult situations, like I mentioned with difficult patrons. You also learn how to be a team member and a leader. So these are definite key skills employees are looking for anywhere you apply for a job. I know that I just threw a lot of information at you all, but I hope you guys have learned that there is a lot more to being a lifeguard than just saving lives. Through my own experiences, I have learned how to be a part of a team, and I have learned how to be a leader. When I was considering becoming a lifeguard, I had no idea what a major role it would play in shaping me into the person I am today. I have very much enjoyed speaking on this subject with you all because it's something I'm very passionate about. And also I got to share a little bit more about who I am. Thank you.